Hey y'all, it's David Ducker coming back at you, and today we're going to be doing Return of the Runefangs, episode 14, the Siege of Heideck, part 2. When we last left our daring heroes, they had completed a sally against the Orc Horde, which was besieging Heideck, the Horde of Clay and Blood Axe, whose signature weapon is a dagger axe of ancient Chinese folklore. And possibly real history. So Google a dagger axe and you can see what kind of vicious weapon that is. But they had just returned from sallying forth into the Orc Horde. Abigail Eagle, in disguise as a young squire, was wounded by a troll as soon as they rode out, slapped in the face by an enormous troll, and almost knocked from her horse, barely holding on to the reins for the remainder of the sally. But finally they did return through the north gate, the Stallion Gate, where they were greeted by healers led by Agatha and Cecilia Waldberg. Cecilia attempted to cast a spell to call down a lightning storm onto the orcs, into their encampment, to electrify their minds and bodies. But unfortunately, the curse of Tzinch rose its ugly head, its ugly and ever-changing face, and smote her with lightning to the ground. So she was everyone was very concerned about her. Her sister Agatha rushed to her aid. Agatha, of course, a priestess of Verena, goddess of wisdom. And this spooked all the horses in the courtyard. They just returned 100 knights and all their war horses. And the curse of Tzinch, not only the lightning strike so close to them, but the etheric energies released by this spooked all the animals. And the players had to get them under control with some animal handling. That was, of course, Sir Blaine Charrington, the vampire hunter, the veiled knight, Sir Ulrich Berengar. I think that's it. I think we just had the two. And then Abigail Eagle, had been under the ministrations of the priests because she was injured during the battle, so she wasn't able to help control these animals. But they did actually get the horses under control, kept them from stampeding into the city, which is very good, very important not to have a stampede in the city. And as they were settling the mounts down, the horses calming them, they realized that Aber has disappeared in the scuffle. No one noticed where he went, if he was kidnapped, if he snuck off, or what, but he was just injured, so it seems unlikely that he would have snuck away. So exeunt Abigail Eagle, or exit, I guess you don't want to be fancy about it. For bonus XP, tell me what's the difference between exeunt and exit. That's an easy question. I'll give you 1 XP for it. But as they were calming the horses down, a messenger arrived from the south gate, from whence they had come, from the dwarf gate. And they were supposed to move outside the city through the orcs and into the Stallion Gate at the same time as Johannes Bear led the Order of the Black Bear out of the Stallion Gate and around to the Dwarf Gate, swapping positions, cutting down everything in their path. That's a medieval tactic that was used in the real world. But the messenger told him that Johannes Bear never arrived at the South Gate, and his forces, the Order of the Black Bear, have been stopped in the middle of the battlefield, and the orcs are pressing in around them, just crushing them into this defensive circle. So the leader of this battle group was actually Baron Ramsay Holloman from Agbiton. Just a young 14-year-old boy, but he had the best political reasons for leading a battle. Terrible strategic sense, just because he's so young, but in terms of political power, his family is the most important. So he was, of course, elected the leader of this battle group. So he hears this and he's in indecision. And he looks up to his bodyguard. The bad man from Averland, Hildebrand Servatius, former judicial champion from Averheim. He doesn't care. He's just looking down on him and shrugs because he's only there to bodyguard Ramsay, and he doesn't know anything about battles anyways. Seeing this indecision, though, Sir Blaine seizes the initiative, and he tells Ramsay, a true knight would charge forward and rescue the order. We have to come to the aid of our allies, or else what men are we? So he impresses the young Baron and convinces him that, yes, we need to ride forth. So he mounts up, puts his helmet back on, and he's just on a little courser, but he's mounted at the head of this battle group, and they ride out once again without having that proper rest that they were looking for. But they ride out to rescue the Order of the Black Bear. So they find the Order besieged by orcs, surrounded, and of course they smash into this wall of orcs of Clan Bloodaxe. And as the orcs saw them coming, they formed a shield wall. So now we've got the Order of the Black Bear besieged by orcs who are pressing inward with a shield wall. We've got this smaller section forming an outward shield wall against the party who's coming in to smash them. I wish I'd been able to record this video right after it happened so I recalled more clearly exactly what happened. But to the best of my recollection, the charge was stopped by the shield wall, and it broke into two separate battles as Sir Blaine, actually it was Sir Ulrich. Sir Ulrich seized some forces and took them to the south, away from the shield wall to mount a second charge, whereas the other half of the forces, Baron Ramsay, maintained control of them, and they were just kind of standing there next to the shield wall on horseback, just exchanging blows with them, just beating down on the orcs who were pressing up with their spears. So Sir Blaine was there, as well as, of course, his squire, Pavla Kampf, and Hildebrand Servatius, the bodyguard of Baron Ramsay, who was sorely pressed between the three of them, basically trying to protect the young Baron from these hideous orcs. Clan Bloodaxe wears heavier armor than most orcs. They have stronger tactics, which is why they have the shield wall. Most of them have shields, and a lot of orcs would rather opt for a big sword and no armor and no tactics. But Clan Bloodaxe is the antithesis of that. Of course, thankfully, they're a smaller force than most orc hordes, which are vast and ranging. But as Sir Blaine is trying to protect Baron Ramsay, Ulrich is regrouping his forces, and he sees that Johannes Bear is still alive and leading his men, and Johannes starts to press his men towards Ulrich's men. So trying to create a pincer with the orcs between them. So Ulrich organizes a charge into the shield wall, and he actually did break through the wall this time. And he's fighting his way towards Johannes Bear, and finally the two converge and meet up, and they just start laying about at the orcs. But while this is happening on the southeastern front of the battle, up on the northwestern front, Baron Ramsay, who has been just exchanging blows from horseback with the shield wall, is starting to get surrounded, as the shield wall, just drawn up in a straight line, is now starting to envelop and wrap around the cavalry so it can crush them. And they tried to push them back. They tried to break through, but it was unsuccessful. And in fact, the Sir Blaine's squire was pulled from his horse by one of the dagger axes, hooked him around the shoulder and pulled him down off of his horse. And then Sir Blaine, very shortly thereafter, he followed suit. As he was trying to fight through to rescue his squire, he was actually pulled from his horse bodily. There's an orc with spiked armor jumped up onto him and got all the spikes in and just fell off the horse. And Sir Blaine was unable to keep his balance. So now he's on the mud, in the rain, surrounded by orcs, on the ground with one wrestling him and others standing over him, just wailing on the back of his head with the morning stars. So Sir Blaine was sorely pressed, and that whole northwestern section of the battle was in some trouble. Fortunately, Ulrich, as I said, and Johannes Bear got their forces together, and they came in like the cavalry that they were, and rescued Sir Blaine and Baron Ramsay. So they crushed the orc shield wall in that section and rescued that battle group. The orcs turned and started to flee, and the knights were riding them down like grass. So it was a really, really fun little mass combat there. The rules for A Song of Ice and Fire, very, very helpful in running the mass combat, making it exciting and dynamic, and having the players really have a lot of input by having skill ranks in warfare. So I think we're going to actually split this maybe into 2 parts. So go check out the Facebook group, Return of the Runefangs. It's got all your NPC portraits on there. And I'll be coming back to you real soon with Return of the Runefangs, Part 14, Part 2.